Everybody, welcome back to Crazy Dave's Crew. I'm Laura. You're watching Thursday Threads. So I had some comments from some of my recent videos about, in particular, this one. And they're wanting, more specifically, to really see how I did the corners. So, you asked, I'm answering. Also to let y'all know, if you were asking about a pattern, I kind of flew by the seat of my pants on that one, but I will try to get an article on cdcrew.com with pictures and showing you how I put it together and my rationale for why I placed things where I did. So I had a couple of these extra left over. I made too many. Oh well. But we're just going to do a quick little project so you can see how I do the corners and finish this up. So don't go away. So I'm taking one of my extra rectangle and 2 block pieces. I have my fleece, and you can do either side, of course, but I'm going to put wrong side to wrong side. And because it's a small piece, I am comfortable with using 505 spray, so I'm just going to kind of spray that and lay it down. Okay. And we're going to be trimming this, so it doesn't have to be perfect. But instead of having to use pins, I can hold this up, flop it around a little bit. So I'm going to go to my machine, and because I'm not using batting that's going to get mangled, misshapen, I don't need to quilt every 4 to 6 inches. So I'm just going to take a seam straight down this line. And that's just kind of to attach. Make sure that the back and the front is together. It's what I did with the other quilt, the other blanket. I just did 2 or 3 seams across. So let's do that, and I'll be right back. And when I'm evening up, I want to use one of the marks on my ruler for this seam here. That way I can make sure I'm getting straight across. So that I know I'm getting nice and straight. So we're just going to kind of trim that. Okay. So I've sewn down here, and I have gone ahead and sewn it down around the edges. Now for the binding. I'm going to keep it like I did the other. This is a 2.5 inch strip. And I am just going to measure it. I'm going to sew it down here. Right? So I'm going to sew it onto the back. And I'm going to use a nice 1/2 inch seam on this for both these sides. Let's do that and I'll be right back. So this is one time I'm not using my piecing foot. I'm going to go back to one of the standard feet. I'm going to use my N. And I'm going to tell you why. Because this way now I can put my needle all the way over to the left. And if I use this as my guide, then I have a little bit of a longer seam. The piecing foot gets me a really good 1/4 inch. But doing it this way, I'm going to get right at a 1/2 inch. And that's what I want. Alright, so I've got that on 2 sides. And we're just going to press it out. So there's the back. There's the front. Now we're going to do the same thing on the two ends. Okay, so I've got my gray binding is now on all four sides. Now here comes the fun part. So I have my ironing board surface, and I'm going to fold that about right there. Okay, and I'm going to press it. So we're going to press that down so that we've got our fold. Ouch. And it will be hot. And then we're just going to fold it back like that. My handy dandy little clips. These are awesome. I don't know how I made it without them. And I'm going to do that to the other side, the opposite side. Okay? So I'm going to do the same thing here. So we're just going to kind of fold that down. Okay. That's how the back's going to look. We'll be right back. Okay. So we have a lot of options on how you want to stitch down your binding. I just used a little zigzag on my blanket, but on this one I think I'm going to, experiment a little bit and let you guys see how different stitches look. So I am going to try this one right here, 54, and I'm going to change the length and the width. And I don't have the piecing foot, I've got the regular foot in there. And we're just going to kind of stitch it down. And I think I'm just going to put this right in the center of my binding. Well, let's see how this looks. And so that's what it looks like with the decorative stitching. It's a little harder for me to keep it in a straight line, but it's also kind of neat because then you also have it on the back side. And I'm just going to do the same thing to the tops. I'm going to clip off some of my strings. And I fold this down and I'm going to press it about halfway. And then I'm just going to bring that back down. Okay. And there are times that I just like to play with the project. So when the end result happens, it's a train wreck. But you do learn from the playing. Play with the different stitches. See which ones you like better. Which ones are more difficult to hang on to. Which ones are forgiving of you being a little crooked. Now, I personally don't really care for it being, floppy. So I think on this top one, I'd like to show you what it looks like with the zigzag. Same thing with the bottom. So, you know, just folding it over. Clip your strings. And you're just going to have and I'm not sure what this is actually called. I call it a box corner. The mitered corners are the ones where it comes together into that really nice little corner. I think those take some practice. And rather than being daunted by those, let's just do something that's fairly simple, fairly easy, fairly safe. So that we can get some accomplishment under our belt. So like I said, I'm going to do a zigzag on these two, on the top and the bottom. And that way you can kind of see how the different stitches can look. And when I do the zigzag, I am going to just stay right on that line so that it zigzags over, back and forth between the top and the binding, top and binding. Let's see what it looks like. Well, not my best piece of work, but this you can at least see how the zigzag looks versus the decoration in the center. And then that's what my corners will look like. And I have myself a little mini placemat or a dresser decoration or something. And I'm not saying that this is the right way to finish a quilt or a placemat or a pot holder or whatever it is you're working on that needs to have binding. No, I'm not saying it's the wrong way. This is just how I am doing it at this time. And I'm only going through this detail because I had someone ask about it. And again, it always takes practice. But this is why I don't care for the in the middle. I like to have it that down. I like it being smooth. Well, I hope you found this to be helpful. And I hope you'll come back to see us next time. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, Sewing and Crocheting for Beginners, Crazy Dave's Crew. If you like geocaching, you can always check out Adventures in Geocaching. Be sure to subscribe down below. And we look forward to seeing you again next time here on Crazy Dave's Crew. You've been watching Thursday Threads.